the architecture of the mind, the invisible ceiling. Look around you. Why is it that two people can have the same degree, the same upbringing, and the same work ethic, yet one struggles to pay rent, while the other builds an empire? Most people think the answer is luck. They think it's who you know or the right timing, but they are wrong. The difference isn't in their skills, it's in their operating system. Most of the world is running on outdated 1.0 software, built on fear, scarcity, and survival. But the 1%, they've upgraded. Today, we are going to hack into the architecture of your mind and rewrite the code that has been holding you back. The hardware versus software concept. Imagine your brain is a $100 million supercomputer, the most advanced hardware in the known universe. It's capable of processing 11 million bits of information per second econ. But here is the problem. You are trying to run the Success app on poverty software. If your software is buggy, if you have subconscious loops saying, "I am not worthy" or "money is the root of all evil," your hardware will crash every single time you get close to a breakthrough. This is why you self-sabotage. This is why you hit a plateau. You don't need a new hustle. You need a new OS. The Matrix realization. Wait, stop. Look at your hands. Look at the room you are in. Everything you see. The chair you are sitting on. The screen you are looking at. Was once just a thought in someone's mind. You are living inside a physical manifestation of human thoughts. If you can control the source, the thought, you control the physical world. Most people spend their whole lives trying to change the reflection in the mirror. They want the mirror to show a fit body or a fat bank account. But you don't change the reflection by touching the glass. You change the reflection by changing the object in front of it. You are the object. The science of attraction. This isn't just wishful thinking. This is neuro-architecture. When we talk about attracting success, we are talking about tuning your brain's reticular activating system. RAS. Think of the RAS as a gatekeeper. It decides what information gets to your conscious mind. Right now, there are thousands of opportunities around you, but your software is programmed to ignore them. We are going to teach you how to recalibrate that gatekeeper. Jim Rohn once said, "Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become." You don't chase butterflies. You build a beautiful garden, and the butterflies come to you. This too, Horror Masterclass, is your garden building manual, the call to commitment in the next 100 minutes. We are going through 8 levels of Mindlift Success Academy. We will dismantle your old identity and install the high-performance Victor software. By the time this audio ends, the version of you that started it will no longer exist. Are you ready to delete the old version? Let's begin Level 1. Chapter 1. The Victim versus the Victor. The Great Divorce. The Great Divorce. The Identity Split. Welcome to Level 1. This is where most people quit. We call this the Great Divorce. To move forward, you must legally and spiritually divorce your old identity. You have been in a toxic relationship with a version of yourself called the victim. The victim is comfortable. The victim is never at fault. The victim has 1,000 excuses for why the bank account is empty or why the body is tired. But here is the tough love truth. You cannot take the victim into the future you are trying to build. You are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to the comfort of "it's not my fault," and the other leads to the terrifying power of "it's all on me." Choose now. Radical responsibility. Let's talk about radical responsibility. Most people are okay with taking 10% responsibility, or 50%. They say, "I'd be successful if the economy was better, or if my boss wasn't a jerk." That ends today. Until you take 100% blame for every failure, every heartbreak, and every cent missing from your pocket, you can never take 100% credit for your success. If the economy can break you, the economy owns you. If your ex-partner can ruin your mood, they own your mind. Radical responsibility is the ultimate power move, because if you are the problem, then you are also the solution. You are no longer waiting for a hero. You've realized the hero is you. Chapter 2. The Neuroscience of Belief. The Invisible Filter. The RAS. Now that you've divorced the victim, You need to understand the machinery of your new identity. Deep inside your brainstem lies a bundle of nerves called the Reticular Activating System, or the RAS. Think of the RAS as the gatekeeper of reality. Your brain is bombarded by millions of bits of data every second. If you processed it all, you'd go insane. So, the RAS filters it out based on what you believe is important. If you believe money is hard to get, your RAS literally blinds you to opportunities. They could be hitting you in the face, and you won't see them. But when you program the Victor software, your RAS starts scanning the horizon for wins like a heat-seeking missile. Neuroplasticity, rewiring the hardware. The old saying, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks," is a lie. It's a victim's excuse. In neuroscience, we call it neuroplasticity. Every time you think a thought, you fire a neuron. Every time you repeat that thought, you strengthen the connection. Eventually, these connections become neural highways, deeply carved paths that your brain naturally follows. Most people have 8-lane highways for anxiety and doubt, and a dirt path for success. In Mindlift Academy, we are bulldozing the dirt path. We are laying down the asphalt for a new highway. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first. That's just the sound of your brain physically changing its shape. Trust the construction. Faye Chapter 3. The 4-hour focus state. Deep work. The dopamine war. Your mind is now a Ferrari, but you are trying to drive it through a swamp. That swamp is the modern attention economy. Every notification, every like, every mindless scroll is a micro dose of dopamine that fragments your soul. You think you are multitasking, but neuroscience proves that multitasking is a myth. It's actually context switching. And every time you do it, you pay a switching cost in cognitive power. The 1% understand something the masses don't. Intensity of focus is the new IQ. In a world of distracted people, the person who can focus for 4 hours straight becomes a god. Level 3 is about reclaiming your sovereignty over your own attention. The flow state architecture to achieve Mindlift success. You must learn to enter the flow state, the zone where time disappears and your output quadruples. Flow isn't an accident. It's an architecture. It requires a specific ratio of challenge to skill. If the task is too easy, you get bored. If it's too hard, you get anxious. You must find the sweet spot. But the biggest killer of flow, the just 1 second trap. I'll just check my email for 1 second. That 1 second costs you 20 minutes of deep focus. To build your empire, you must build a fortress around your time. No phones, no people, no mercy. The 99-ity, one rule. The viral productivity hack here is the blueprint for your morning. We call it the 99-ity, one rule. For the next 90 days, for the first 90 minutes of your working day, you will focus on your number one goal, nothing else. No Slack, no news, no breakfast meetings. Why? Because the morning brain is in an alpha, theta state, the bridge between the subconscious and the conscious. This is when your Victor software is most powerful. If you give your first 90 minutes to a social media algorithm, you are literally selling your future for free. If you give it to your dream, you become unstoppable. 1.5 hours of deep work is worth 8 hours of distracted work. Chapter 4. The Wealth Identity. The Internal Thermostat. Why do 70% of lottery winners go bankrupt within 5 years? Why do people who inherit millions often lose it all, while self-made billionaires can lose everything and build it back in months? It's because of the internal financial thermostat. Every human has a comfort temperature for wealth. If your thermostat is set to $50,000 a year, and you suddenly make $500,000, your subconscious mind will view that extra money as a threat to your identity. It will subconsciously force you to overspend, make bad investments, or get unlucky until you are back at $50,000. You don't have a money problem, you have a setting problem. The poverty virus. Deleting the old code. Most of you were raised with the poverty virus. You heard things like, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, or we can't afford that. These aren't just phrases. They are lines of code written into your subconscious. before you were old enough to defend yourself. You've been programmed to believe that poverty is noble and wealth is suspicious. Let's delete the virus. Money is nothing more than a certificate of appreciation for the value you provide to the marketplace. If you want more money, provide more value. Being broke isn't a badge of honor. It's a limitation on your ability to help the world. It's time to stop apologize for wanting abundance. The magnetic action, the 1% secret, the 1% don't work for money. They build systems that attract money. They realize that hard work is a requirement, but strategic work is the multiplier. Your wealth identity is built on 3 pillars. 1. Worthiness, believing you deserve the best. 2. Value, obsessing over how you can solve problems for others. 3. Circulation, being unafraid to invest in yourself. Stop looking at your bank account as a reflection of your worth. It is merely a reflection of your past thoughts. Today, we change the thoughts. Tomorrow, the commas in your bank account will follow. You are no longer trying to be rich. You are a wealthy person who is currently in the process of collecting their dividends. Chapter 5. Energy Management. The biological edge, the high-performance battery. You can have the best software in the world, but if your battery is at 2%, the computer won't run. Most people treat their energy like a disposable resource. They fuel themselves with cheap dopamine, sugar, and 5 hours of interrupted sleep, and then wonder why they can't manifest their dreams. Listen closely. Your energy is your currency. Every time you eat processed dead food, every time you skip the gym, every time you stay up late, scrolling, you are literally stealing from your future self's bank account. The 1% don't just manage their time, they manage their vibration. If your body is sluggish, your mind is dull. If your mind is dull, your reality is mediocre. The biohacks of the victor to maintain a mindlift state. You must treat your body like a multi-million-dollar asset. Here are the 3 non-negotiables for the victor. 1. The light cycle. Get sunlight in your eyes within 20 minutes of waking. This sets your circadian rhythm and triggers the release of cortisol for focus and serotonin for mood. 2. The cold edge. Take a cold shower. Not because it's fun, but because it's a pattern interrupt for your nervous system. It forces your brain to move from comfort to command. 3. Brain fuel. Your brain is 60% fat. If you aren't feeding it high quality fats and hydration, you are trying to run a race with sand in your engine. When you optimize your biology, flow becomes your default state. You don't have to try to be productive. You are simply too energized to be lazy. Chapter 6. The Social Circle Alchemy. The law of averages. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. We've all heard it, but few of us act on it. If you hang out with 4 broke people, you will be the 5th. If you hang out with 4 complainers, you will be the 5th. Why? Because of mirror neurons. Your brain is designed to mimic the behaviors and frequencies of those around you to ensure tribal survival. But you aren't trying to survive in a tribe of mediocrity. You are trying to thrive in a kingdom of excellence. It is time for a social audit. Look at your inner circle. Do they inspire you? Or do they just know you? Are they pulling you toward your future, or anchoring you to your past? Chapter 7. Emotional Resilience FAMP. The Stoic Mind, the Anti-Fragile Soul. Most people want a life without stress. They want the easy path, but the 1% know a secret. Comfort is the graveyard of greatness. In Mindlift Academy, we don't pray for lighter burdens. We pray for stronger backs. This is the concept of being anti-fragile. A glass vase is fragile. It breaks under stress. A steel bar is robust. It resists stress. But a fire is anti-fragile. It feeds on the wind. The more you blow on it, the bigger it gets. Level 7 is about turning your mind into that fire. When life tries to blow you out, it only makes you burn brighter. The gap between stimulus and response, between the moment something happens to you and the moment you react, there is a tiny microscopic space. In that space lies your entire destiny. The victim reacts instantly. Someone cuts them off in traffic. They scream. A client cancels. They spiral. They are puppets, and the world holds the strings. But the victor owns the gap. When a crisis hits, they don't react. They respond. They pause. They breathe. They ask, does this emotion serve my mission? If the answer is no, they discard the emotion like a piece of trash. You are not your feelings. You are the observer of your feelings. You are the mountain. The weather is just passing through. The amor fati meditation. The Stoics had a phrase. Amor fati, the love of fate. It means not just tolerating the bad things that happen, but loving them. Why? Because every obstacle is an opportunity to practice a virtue you wouldn't have used otherwise. Faye Simone lied to you. Good. Practice discernment. Faye, you lost money. Good. Practice resourcefulness. Faye, you failed. Good. Practice resilience. When you love everything that happens, you become invincible. You are no longer at the mercy of good luck, because you've learned how to turn bad luck into gold. This is the ultimate mind lift. Developing the boring discipline. Viral videos show the big win. The mansion, the car, the stage. They don't show the 0 days of boring work that came before it. Emotional resilience is the ability to stay excited about your goal when the novelty has worn off. It's doing the work when you are tired, when it's raining, and when nobody is clapping. True success is found in the plateaus. Most people quit when the progress slows down. The victor keeps walking because they know the plateau is just the foundation for the next peak. Fall in love with the boredom, and the world is yours. Chapter 8. The Power of Visualization. 2.0. Quantum Rehearsal. The illusion of time in the final level of Mindlift Academy. We transcend the physical. Most people think visualization is just imagining a future, but physics tells us something different. In the quantum field, every possible version of your life already exists as a frequency. There is a version of you that is a billionaire, a version that is a world-class athlete, and a version that stayed exactly where you are now. You don't create your dream life. You tune into it. Think of your brain as a radio dial. If you want to hear the music of wealth, you cannot stay tuned to the frequency of lack. Visualization is the act of turning that dial until your internal reality matches the external reality you desire. Mental rehearsal versus daydreaming. There is a reason top-tier surgeons and Olympic athletes spend hours in mental rehearsal. When you visualize with intensity and emotion, your brain does not know the difference between the thought and the event. To your nervous system, it is actually happening. Daydreaming is passive. It's saying, wouldn't it be nice if? Quantum rehearsal is active. You aren't watching a movie of yourself. You are inside the movie. You feel the steering wheel of the car. You smell the air in the new office. You feel the relief in your chest when the debt is paid. You are pre-living your success. By the time it happens in the physical world, it feels like a memory, because you've already been there 1,000 times. The 60-second future memory. Let's do it now. Close your eyes. I want you to go to a specific moment 3 years in the future. You have achieved it all. What is the first thing you see when you wake up? Who is lying next to you? What does the floor feel like under your feet? Hold that feeling of I made it. That feeling is your signature frequency. If you can hold that feeling for more than 60 seconds, you have begun to rewrite your genetic expression. You are literally pulling your future into the present. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. If you are the person who has succeeded, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. Scripting your reality. The final tool in your arsenal is scripting. Write your life story before it happens. Don't write I will be rich. Write I am so happy and grateful now that my business is generating millions. Use the present tense. Use high-octane emotion. When you write it down, you are giving your RAS, that gatekeeper we talked about, a direct order. You are telling your brain, this is the only reality I accept. The moment you stop negotiating with your goals, the gates open. You have the software, you have the hardware, you have the energy. Now, go create the masterpiece. Conclusion. The Mindlift Manifesto. We have traveled from the architecture of your mind to the depths of your soul. You have divorced the victim. You have installed the victor. Knowledge without action is just a mental masturbation. The 1% are defined by their speed of implementation. Take one thing you learned today and do it in the next 10 minutes. Change your environment. Send that email. Start that 99ity. One rule: the blackboard of your life is empty, and you are holding the chalk. Write something worth reading. Welcome to the Academy.
My new life begins now, Victor. The future is yours to shape. Seize it with Mindlift Academy.